6:54 on a Friday afternoon, the 23rd of January. It's my birthday weekend. What a way to start it off with tackles and tinnies. I'm here with my good friend Morgan. Some of you might recognise him from 2025's. I can't remember what podcast you're on, mate, but it was good fun and it's good banter. But Morgan, fantastic to have you back on the podcast. Can you just give us a quick rundown who you are, what you do, and obviously you're a Rabbitohs supporter, and that's why you're on here. Give us a rundown.
I'm Morgan. I've been mates with Ryan for the better part of probably 15, almost 20 years now. Went to school with him, played footy with him, and currently working as like kind of a social worker at the moment. But
Yep.
yeah, big Souths fan obviously, and keen to rip into things tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to have really good insight from you, my friend, because they had a pretty of a mediocre season, but I think I won't try to bash him too hard while you're here. I don't want to make you cry on camera. So, but who's your favourite player, Morgan, currently, and who's your all-time favourite Rabbitohs player?
All-time favourite player, GI.
Yeah, nice.
Just such a dominant multi-position kind of player. You could probably chuck him in the forward pack and he'd do a job for you, but
100%.
So dynamic, so powerful, so quick, the complete package, and perfect player to build a team around. Current favourite player, I think it'd be like splitting hairs between Latrell and Cody Walker.
Yep.
Yeah, Cody obviously on that left edge, or both of them on that left edge, just carve it up. Both just like true footballers, play what's in front of them, exciting to watch.
Yep.
Kind of rocks and diamonds, but I guess we'll get into that later.
Yeah, that left edge and absolute gun-ho this year with more than likely Cody, Fifita, Latrell and AJ. Tell you what, that's one scary looking left-hand side, and obviously we'll delve into that very, very shortly. But I think we just get straight into it, Morgo. So looking at 2025, Tackles and Tinny listeners, 14th, not too good. And there's obviously a lot of reasons why that probably happened, but we'll get through their record first. 9 wins, 15 losses. They got 24 points with negative 181 points, which meant they were the 16th best attack, probably the nice way of saying it. In other words, they're the second shittest attack. And they were the 13th best defense, also not too red hot. They were 1 win off 12th and 1 loss off 15th. So again, so many things that could change to change that whole entire thing. But overall, 14th and all things considering, can't complain. But another thing to look at is their record. So there were 6 from 6 wins at home, which overall is pretty good considering how many Sydney teams there are and all the injuries, which we'll get into shortly. But your away record was probably your biggest downturn, Morgan, for 2025 with a record of 3-9. But it was good to see that you guys came home strong and showed some passion for the colours and your jersey with 3 wins and 1 loss. Obviously, Cameron Murray came at the very back end of the season. What are your thoughts on that, Morgo?
Yeah, I think like we had some patches where I thought we played to our potential, top 14. But then we had some absolute catastrophic moments. I think we had something like 13 players unavailable one round, and when it's 13 out of your top 30 or whatever, it's pretty hard to compete with some of those top teams, especially with the caliber of those 13 players. Obviously the captain, but also Latrell, AJ at various points, pretty much the whole forward pack. And yeah, a few other outside backs out at various stages, which wasn't fantastic. Yeah, obviously it was great to see some young players like Jai Gray, Jamie Humphreys get a crack. Ashton Ward towards the end there as well. I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But exciting, lots of seeds planted for the future, but we'll see how things go.
And Morgan, this totally blitzed me at the very start, but I didn't realize that you guys were actually 4 out of 5 wins from the start of the year, and obviously you ended strong. So that middle part of the season was so detrimental to you guys. Like you beat Rabbitohs, so Rabbitohs beat Dolphins 16-14, and then you had a 25-24 win against the Dragons at Wollongong, which is actually very good. Lost to the Sharkies 27-12. You beat the Panthers. Obviously they had started slow 28-18, and then you beat the Roosters, also a good team, 20-14. So, Morgan, you might actually be onto something here. I think you might have been pretty unlucky with everything.
100%. I think, like, did we beat the Bronx? I'm
Pardon
pretty
me?
sure we might have beat the Bronx. I think we beat the Bronx in a close one as well.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
But yeah.
Yeah, so again, I think just those injuries as they started piling up. Yeah, round 10, mate, 22-14 against the Broncos. And then you
I
beat the
think that was
Tigers
the naughty.
22-12.
That was the naughty drop goal, and then the try at the end to Latrell
Yeah,
from
and
memory. But
that's one of my moments that I'm going to talk about later. But just going off a nutshell here, how I thought you guys were, I think streaky and fragile is probably two words I'll use. Streaky in the sense that, as we just talked about, 4 out of 5 wins to start the year, and then 3 out of 4 wins at the end of the year. It was just that middle patch, and the fragile part comes down to your injuries. I know Wayne Bennett has essentially done a full clean out in regards to the SNC program, so strength and conditioning. Something had to change. Something had to change. What are your thoughts on them pretty much cleaning house?
I think it's going to be for the best. I think we got that Penrith trainer that walked in front of Jaden Campbell as well. So hopefully we get
That's
a
a
bit of that
guarantee.
action throughout the season
Yeah.
in some of those close games. So yeah, like you say, I think we had so many soft tissue injuries throughout the year. All of them, I think, with a bit of proper rehab, probably could have been avoided. So
Yeah.
see how things go. But yeah, looking forward to it. I think we're still probably missing a bit in the forward pack. I think Totola had probably a bit of a mixed season coming back from injury himself. So
Yep.
probably missing another big body out there, but it'll be cool to see how he goes this season with a proper pre-season under his belt as well.
100%. And obviously they've shown a lot of faith, and we'll talk about contracts very shortly. But I think the injuries, mate, it's probably the biggest thing to look at. And when I was getting all the data for this script, it's quite concerning how bad it actually was. So I'm just going to read it here, and then we can have a little chat about it. But South in 2025 injury peak. So you had 13 players injured or unavailable at once. So 13 today, couldn't name 18 players at one stage of the season. That is crazy. Imagine not having an 18th man. Confirmed unique injuries. So you had 20 plus at some point of the season, and you had 27 separate injury spells in 2025. Diabolical. In league comparison, this is where I wanted to dive into more. You had 180 playing weeks missed due to injuries in 2025. The next worst was 60 fewer weeks, and that was the Sydney Roosters. The league average was 84.24. So you guys almost had 100 more playing weeks of injuries. That is crazy. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, I think it just speaks to how things went the whole season. You can't compete with teams when you don't have your top players. So Roosters were another team that probably missed out a bit at the start of the season and ended up scraping into the 8 near the end there. But like I say, injuries are always going to kick your ass in NRL.
Yeah. And I think it's almost a blessing and a curse. And mate, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the league at this year was pretty dominated by obviously your Melbourne, your Penrith, Doggies, Raiders, Bronx. Like those teams were pretty rock solid. Sharkies obviously up there. You started well, obviously, but it's kind of a good thing in a way that yes, you had these injuries, but you had to blood so many younger players or developing players, or you gave people chances in positions they might not have played. Like the Keon Kulamatangi situation probably doesn't happen if you had a full contingent of players. Do you agree with that, or?
Yeah, I think he moved to the middle kind of mid-season, and prior to that, I think you were scratching your head around whether he'd be like an origin player or not, whereas previous years, I think he'd be a shoe-in. So,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely unlocked him going into the middle and having a bit more impact, and hopefully they can keep him there this year as well.
Yeah. And
also like players like Tallis Duncan, I think obviously had Campbell Graham out for most of the season, Isaiah Tass out at various stages, so he had that opportunity to jump into that left edge, and I think he was like the leading try scorer in the comp for over a few weeks span. So rock solid, and cool to see him kind of have a breakthrough year as well.
Yeah, it's almost the analogy where you take one step back to go two steps forward. And I think it's honestly low key. It's worked wonders for you because you've sort of cleaned out the guys you don't want. You've got players more game time. You probably shouldn't have had the game time last year. You mentioned Ashton Ward as a prime example. Obviously, we'll talk about player roster very shortly, but mate, I think I'm very high on the Rabbitohs this year. So, South fans, what are your thoughts on the injuries? Was that the Rabbitohs' biggest Achilles heel? Please let me know in the comments below. Now, Morgo, you gave me a good shout when we were just having a back and forth chat about this podcast, and you told me to talk about the Brandon Smith situation. So what I've done, I've gone onto Channel 9, I've pulled their article, and I've synthesized it into my own dot points. I'm just going to read it out, and then I'll get your opinion. So this is from Channel 9. So Brandon Smith says he spent 4 weeks in a rehab facility to address his mental health plus alcohol abuse. He says he's 105 days alcohol-free. He says his was his choice, not forced by the club, and called it the best investment he's made. He's saying he's putting the party boy identity behind him and rebranding as a professional athlete. He's saying he's attending AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and GA, Gamblers Anonymous, meetings and still sees a psychologist. He says Souths were supportive and teammates kept it private. The report also notes he is facing drug dealing and gambling charges in Queensland court. Not sure where that is currently. But what's your thoughts on this whole Brandon Smith situation? Wayne Bennett currently has him tipped to be starting the year at hooker. So what a turn of events that is. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think the only other thing that's going to let us down beyond injuries is off-season or scandals or other shit that's going to get players suspended or stood down for a couple of weeks. So I think it's a big positive for South that they're starting to deal with some of those off-field things that might bring them undone in some way. Brandon's obviously an incredible player, and I think when he's not having brain snaps or doing silly things on field or off field, he's probably a top 4 hooker in the game as well. So looking forward to seeing a full season of Brandon at South, and I don't know whether he stays at hooker or if he I think that 14 spot's probably his spot. He just has so much impact off the bench. So we'll see how things go. But rock solid player. Keen to see how things go without the off-field stuff. So,
and it's a testament to the Rabbitohs guys too, in-house, not really leaking anything. Like as it says here in the article, the Alcoholics Anonymous and the Gamblers Anonymous didn't really know about that. Didn't know about the psychologist side of things. That's a good sign about culture as well. So obviously the boys getting around him, supporting him, and as you mentioned, has at least top 5 hooker talent, especially now with the World Cup coming in 2026 at the end of the season. He's got everything to play for, and that could be huge just to rebrand his career and retool that. So yeah, good shout, Morgo. What does it mean for South Sydney's in 2026? As you mentioned, does he stay hooker? That's going to be really interesting to see. I think he's probably going to be that type of guy who takes the sting out in the first, let's say, 20 to 25 minutes, and then maybe gets like a Mamazales or maybe a Bud Sutherland to come in and hooker, a bit more zippy, out dynamic, and then he comes back on the field in the middle rotation. How do you see Brandon Smith's role in 2026?
I guess could take like a little bit of a Salivia Harvey-Lee kind of role where he, like you say, takes that sting out. He's a bit of a big body and then can just stay out there and ball play a bit out wide or through the middle as well. So see how things go. But yeah, I think props to him. I don't think anyone twisted his arm to make that decision to go into the rehab. And yeah, I think it's going to yield some great results for him in 2026.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think obviously there with Wayne Bennett, that's just monumental for a guy like him. He's obviously Wayne Bennett's seen every character around the sun, and obviously with his experience, it's only going to be good for him. You've got a lot of guys there too to support him, which is great. So well done there. We'll move on to roster movement, Morgan. So I'll just talk about the gains and the losses, then we can talk about the contracts going from there. So 2025 gains, what you got from the start of the year. You obviously got Jamie Humphries, huge get from Manly Sea Eagles. You got Ewan Aiken from the Finns. Lewis Dodd, we're going to talk about him very shortly. Josh Sushta, another guy you could probably mention. You got Bud Sutherland from the West Tigers, actually alone, but then he's continued on, which is kind of nice. You got Ravalawa, who came mid-season, then he's gone again. But again, we'll talk about that. And obviously Brandon Smith, sort of a mid-season get as well. Probably those last three guys came due to the fact that all the injuries that you guys had. Some big losses though. You had Burgess go, Cook go, Ilias go, Hawkins go, Tane Mill, Michael Cheekham, a few guys there. What are your thoughts on the gains that they theoretically got at the start of 25 year and the losses like guys like Cookie and Ilias who are mainstays there for a bit?
Yeah, I think looking at the gains, I think Humphreys obviously had a big impact, particularly at those first few games of the season. Again, he's another big body that's pretty versatile. He could play hooker, play in the middle, and did a great job at half, I thought, for the first part of the season. Aitken, I think he was a bit hot and cold with injury throughout the year, but again, another player that can do a job in centre or on an edge as well.
Yeah. What do you think about Dodd,
I
mate?
think, what about him? I think I saw maybe 5 minutes of footy from Dodd in all of 2025. So same with Ravalawa. I think he maybe played a couple of games himself, but pretty disappointing signings. I think Ravalawa might have had hammies and whatnot throughout the year, but Dodd just didn't get I don't know if he got a fair crack or what, but didn't really impress with the minutes he got. Obviously disappointing with Schuster and a few of those other guys as well. No game time, but hopefully they can find their best somewhere else.
It's like crazy to me because you spend, I think it was like around $700,000. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but $700,000 on a halfback, unproven, coming from Super League. You're obviously paying probably a little bit overs for unproven talent, especially coming from Super League. But I agree with you, man. Like, I don't think you got a fair crack. Like, as you said, you probably paid 20 minutes and then got hooked and then never got another game again. So, and with all those injuries that we talked about in that prior segment, that is just, it's just wild to me. And I think obviously the game of Jamie Humphreys is probably your biggest one. And moving forward, I don't know what his best position is. As you mentioned, he's a big body, like bloody hell, he's like a bodybuilder. He's so jacked. I don't know where I see him. I think if Cameron Murray maybe wasn't there, you could definitely see him in a lock position, but he's very serviceable in the halfback position. But there are some guys going to be biting at his heels who we're going to talk about very shortly. What about the losses, Morgo? What do you think about Cookie leaving and Ilias?
Yeah, I think you saw Cookie's impact over at the Dragons and obviously had a big part to play in some of their success throughout the year. Ilias is probably going to get the Titans to a grand final or something. I don't know.
Praying.
Just because of that South Sydney pedigree. Obviously missed out on some opportunities over at the Dragons, but was a pretty solid half at South. I think he got them to a prelim and got them to the finals one year. So got to give him some credit. Tane Milne is another one that we probably missed heavily. He missed his swinging arms and
he got that dog though. He's got that dog in him.
Oh, 100%. I think you need an enforcer in that team and someone to bring a bit of fire to the defence if anything. So glad he's enjoying himself over in the UK at the moment, I think. And same with Cheekham.
I think the Tane Mill thing's a bit underrated. Obviously, he was a bit of a hothead and streaky at the best of times, but he can pull off a shot. He can pull off he's like Ronaldo Mulatalu in regards to like energy, but obviously nowhere near as good. But he could do some things that like sort of lifted the boys, and I think they missed that low key. Do you agree with that?
I think the area they probably missed him the most is his yardage from kick returns and stuff like that. I think you had players like Tyrone Munro, AJ obviously, but really lacking in a bit of size and probably that explosiveness and weight coming back. So he was probably one of our big meter eaters from 2024 and big loss last year, something that was definitely missing. Ravalawa was probably the other option there, but was definitely lacking in terms of minutes, which is hamstring injury.
Yeah. Let's just have a look at the gain. So obviously, huge one in day for Fifita on massive unders. I think Titans has paid close to $300,000 for him to pretty much leave the club. So yeah, you got him on a good undervalued contract. He's looking really, really good. I remember seeing some off-season videos of him wrestling Latrell Mitchell 1-for-1 on the beach, and I just saw a video they were playing like two-hand touch football, and he stepped around a couple guys and went for the corner. He's looking great, and again, we'll talk about him in great detail. Bronson Garlic, I think that's a pretty good underrated pickup as well. A lot of versatility. I think you guys are going to have a fair few Origin players, so he could definitely be filling a role there and could be a smoky chance on the extended bench because we'll talk about the top 19 shortly. I'm probably going to butcher this, Morgan, so feel free to correct me, but Moala Graham Tafua, I haven't heard too much about him. But Ed Cossey, I do know about him. He's a big outside back, can also play second row. Jonah Glover, smoky chance in the halves if everything hits the fan. Definitely potential if Cody Walker goes down again. But we'll talk about that later on. And then you got some younger fellas in developmental. You got Sigwalt and Riddell. So any chat on those gains, Morgo?
I think it would be really interesting to see how Fifita goes. Obviously, the Titans, he had that weight of expectation around a big contract. Probably didn't get the run he would have liked with injuries, and probably felt a bit under himself throughout those few seasons there. Struggling to find some combinations with all the different halves and stuff the Titans had there as well. So keen to see how he goes with a new side around him, and I think he'll slot into that left edge very nicely. Bronson Garlic obviously did some wonders at the Storm. They had a few injuries at various points over the last couple of years, and he's kind of slotted in pretty seamlessly. Will do a job at hooker and probably throughout the middle forward as well. Could play half if need be. Don't know much about Graham Taufer either. Ed Cossey gives us a bit of outside back depth on the wing there. I don't know if he'll be a starter, but we'll definitely get a couple of games at some stage throughout the season.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of Jonah Glover's highlights for Dragons. He looks pretty solid. Has a pretty good kicking game, which I think we've been lacking for a couple of years. Even Humphreys probably has a bit of a lackluster long kicking game. So having someone that can be pretty accurate and
get
the ball long will do us some favours. And yeah, the other two obviously on development contracts. Haven't had much time to watch them, but yeah, excited with those couple of big signings at the top there.
Yeah, and I'm hearing murmurs because obviously Jamie Humphreys is going to be out for the first two games due to suspension. So we'll talk about that in the top 19. But Jonah Glover was a smoky chance of probably starting. However, I'm hearing murmurs that more than likely Bud Sutherland will accompany Cody Walker at the start of the year. But again, we'll talk about that shortly. Again, you mentioned Ravalawa. He's gone back to the UK in 2026. Again, I think he had two hamstring injuries. I think one of them was a grade 3. So that's like 8 weeks, especially near the end of the year. And Ben Lovett, Havili. Again, I thought he was pretty good and very serviceable at times. Probably more of a middle, not much of a hooker, but again, definitely did a job. Shaq Mitchell. I guess the biggest things that we can say about their losses, Morgo, is that they're probably not in their best 17 to 19 players. Could you agree there?
Yeah, 100%. I think they probably lacking a bit of fitness. A few of them have been playing a lot of reserve grade footy and stuff like that at various stages. I really like Havili. I think he was very solid for us in the middle at various stages throughout the season, but some of those other guys I think will do good in the UK.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so I've just got this from NRL.com, and I'm just going to read out all the guys who are contracted for 2026 only, and then I'll talk about the other guys who extended along or further than that. Surprising, there's only one guy extended past the 2028 season, and we'll get to him very shortly. Have a guess in the comments, guys. But 2026 only, got Ashton Ward. You mentioned him earlier on, Morgo. We'll quickly touch on him first. Young halfback, 5'8", looked like a baby, probably 15 kilograms soaking wet on the field, but he definitely played above his weight. What rating would you give Ashton Ward out of 10?
I think from the few games we saw him, there wasn't any moments that he got run over the top of. His ball playing was pretty good. He was pretty nimble and played that kind of eyes up brand of footy that grown to love from players like Cody and Latrell. I think he gels with that team pretty well. It's interesting that Cody Walker's the only other player on contract for just 2026. So
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to be vying for the same position throughout the year, and it'd be really interesting to see where they go with it. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I'd be pretty sad if they let him go, to be honest.
Yeah, and again, obviously you got Jonah Glover signed there now. So Ashton Ward, will they re-sign him? I'd hope so. He's so young. Like, you hate letting young halves go because they don't get more competent to above average, like into like mid-20s at best. So yeah, definitely a developmental guy. Another guy we just talked about just before, you just mentioned Cody Walker there to 2026. Do you see Cody Walker extending another year, or do you reckon this could be his swan song?
I think it'll depend on injuries throughout the year. If he gets another ward of soft tissue injuries like he had last season, I think he might call stumps, but we'll see how things go. Obviously, still, it doesn't take a lot to just pass the ball to Latrell or throw a long ball to AJ on that edge. So maybe he's good for another 5 years. Who knows?
Yeah, and Fifita off his hip now as well. Don't forget that. Yeah, I'm hoping he re-signs. And again, you don't have to play him 80 minutes. You could do what they did at the very end of the last year. Chuck him on for 30 minutes off the bench. Certainly an option there as well. Jamie Humphries, probably the guy you want to be re-signing, is also off at 2026. How much do you reckon you have to get to re-sign Jamie Humphries, Morgo? So that's a tough question.
Ooh.
Is he over
like,
500,000?
I wouldn't say so.
Mm.
I think like when you look at the halves on other teams at the moment, I think he's probably in that kind of bottom third of halves in terms of quality. If anything, I think his versatility probably gives him a few extra points. But
yeah,
at the moment, he's probably a player we can see how he goes this year and make a decision.
Yeah. And again, I think it could be a bit of a shootout with Ashton Ward as well. If Ashton Ward starts popping off and Humphries maybe regresses a little bit, there's definitely a chance of one guy taking the other spots. Even potentially Humphries, Ashton Ward, 2027. Again, that's a conversation I have later on. Keon Kulamatangi, as we know, this is his final year. He signed with the St. George Illawarra Dragons on close to $1 million until like 2030. Good for him. As we talked about earlier, Morgo went from second row to the middle, found a new lease of life. He was never keen to play in middle, but I tell you what, Keon, you locked yourself into a New South Wales jersey. You got that call up for the Ashes at the back end of the year. You're not just going to be playing for Tonga anymore. You're going to be playing for the green and gold. So well done, Keon. Again, we'll give some roses to him later on. Liam LeBlanc, 2026. Matt McCarthy, 2026. Graham Tafua, we just talked about him before, rookie, 2026. Sean Kepi, 2026. Do you reckon they give Kepi another year or two?
I think if it was between Kepi and LeBlanc for a middle spot, I'm 100% going LeBlanc. He's a rock solid player. He's pretty young himself, but has decent size and probably more brain cells than Kepi. So we'll see how things go there.
The cappuccino. So that's the guys at 2026. Now we're just going to quickly rattle off the guys who are 2027, which is majority of the rest of the team. So Alex Johnson, more than likely going to be breaking the record within the first 3 games, Morgo, you would think?
Yeah, for sure.
And do you think that they're going to run onto the field?
Oh, depends where they're playing, to be honest. I think if it's Allianz, you'd hope that he gets a chance to be celebrated by the fans. But
that'd be sick.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I think in the AFL they had Buddy Franklin get his 1,000 goals or whatever, and the whole crowd stormed the field. It was amazing. The NRL would be missing an opportunity, marketing-wise, not allowing something like that to happen. So.
Did you see that they said that last year, though, the NRL? They put like a public announcement out, like, please do not rush the field, like, player welfare, blah, blah, blah. It's like, piss off.
It's a bluff, surely.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Get there, South Sydney fans. If you're around, get onto the field, do tackles and Tinnies proud. We're doing it from afar here. Brandon Smith, obviously, we talked about him in detail already. He's there 2027. Boston Garlic, 2027. Campbell Graham, he's had a rotten run of injuries in the past couple of years, but he's also there 2027. Morgo, Campbell Graham, where does he play? Is he centre or wing this year?
It depends if he can go back to that kind of 2024 form. I'll probably see him at the right centre. But again, I think he'd be keeping
Jack
out of
Whiten.
the side, Jack Whiten.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a really tough one. I think he's a better player than Whiten on his day, though, and definitely off the back fence. He's been a big meter eater for us and breaks tackles like
Yeah.
nothing. So he was a fringe New South Wales player in start of 2024. So
Yeah.
we'll see how things go there. I think it'd be a shame if he was on the wing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It could be a resurgence, but yeah, again, you've got a wealth of depth in the outside backs now, which is nice. Fifita, we already talked about him, 2027. Ed Cossey, talked about him already, 2027. Ewan Aiken, 2027. Isaiah Tass, bit of an unsung hero, played majority of the year last year, filled in a number of positions, so what on Tass, 2027. Jack Whiten, again, yeah, he's not slowing down. I think he's obviously had to fill so many roles at centre and 5'8" at times of last year. Where do you prefer Jack Whiten, Morgo? Maybe even the forwards?
I think he's either a 5'8", maybe second row at this point in his career. Probably lacks a bit of pace to be an outside back, particularly with some of those other teams in the comp at the moment, but still a very rock solid player, great ball player, and a hard defender as well. So does a job for us.
I wouldn't mind seeing if like Tallis Duncan or Fifita went down. Wouldn't mind seeing Whiten go there because then obviously we got the Ty Munro situation we could talk about. But yeah, a guy like him could obviously get an opportunity back on the wing. And then, as you mentioned before, Campbell Graham could then shift to centre. That's definitely an option later on. Jai Arrow shifted between lock, front row, second row, played majority of the year. And for a guy who's had many injuries in his career, I thought he was a fantastic. What were your thoughts on Arrow for 2026?
I think he played half the season last year with no shoulder, so
Yeah.
and did a job for us. He's a great leader in the team and of that pack in particular, and he's probably one of our main hopes for 2025. But yeah,
Yep.
2026 with a good pre-season, no injuries under his belt, I think he'll have a big impact.
Yeah, 100%. Do you prefer him a middle or on an edge?
It's a tough one. I'd probably say middle. I think he runs hard enough. He's a big enough body, and a great defender as well. So take the sting out of that opposition pack when we can.
I've been saying this on several of the other podcasts I've been doing and looking at like the modern day front row. I think he fits it perfectly. He's not so bulky and not fleet of foot. I think he's all the above for that. And I think the aggression that he provides as well through the middle, and he can play bigger minutes as well. Sort of like a Keon now. He's obviously moved to the middle as well. Great example. Definitely prefer in the middle for sure. So then we've also got guys for 2027. Bud Sutherland, he was potentially leaving, but he's re-upped, potentially starting a halfback. But again, we'll wait shortly for the top 19. Jonah Glover, talked about him coming over. Latrell Mitchell, 2027. Morgo, I know it's one of your favourite players. Where does Trell Mitt play? Obviously, he's starting the year at centre. I've said in the past I wouldn't mind seeing him play at 5'8". He's obviously can play fullback. Do you just want to play Latrell at centre so he's not doing as much work, so hopefully get more games out of him? What are your thoughts there?
I think if we're to try and pick the best players for this team, Latrell's got to play centre at the moment. That said, I don't think he has as much impact at centre as he would from fullback, if that makes sense. I just think if you're fielding your best team, he needs to be centre.
Do you reckon he's going to get that roving centre position again?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it's in the best interest of the team. Jai Gray, obviously, we'll get to him a bit later, but I think he's still yet to find his offload game and his passing game. Once he has that, I think we'll be having a very different conversation. But at this point, I think Latrell to centre, Jai Gray doing his thing out the back. But yeah, obviously a very exciting time with that edge.
If Cody Walker retires at the end of this year, would you like to see Latrell at 5'8"?
I think he'd do some damage at 5'8". He's obviously a great ball player. very solid kicking game, and like we've seen his defence, he's a game changer there as well. So yeah, I'd love to see him at 5'8", and I think it's still going to be a very hectic left edge to defend if you've got Latrell, Fifita, potentially White and AJ running at you on one side. So
crazy, stacked, absolutely stacked. I love it personally. I think it's like you said, Greg Inglis is your favorite player of all time. He's Greg Inglis 2.0, obviously, not getting to the heights of what he's had in terms of longevity, but Latrell's upside is definitely GI potential. So, yeah, would love to see him get the ball more and maybe less running because, again, he's at 5'8". But again, we talk about that later on. Peter Mamazalis, he's there at 2027. Does he start? Does he come off the bench? Time will tell. We'll talk about that in the top 19. Tallis Duncan, you mentioned him before, Morgo, in regards to a bit of a breakout sort of year when he got the opportunity. Can fill in the middle, can play on the edge, can play center. Definitely love him on the edge. Definitely think he's starting. What letter grading would you give Tallis Duncan for the 2025 season, Morgo?
I don't think he's anything less than an A. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Played his role both at back row and at centre. So great footwork, good speed and decent size, rock solid in defence. He's probably one of my standout players for last year.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more. Thomas Fletcher, 2027, and then the Ty Munro situation. He just gives me Lothy Camporera vibes. Like when he's on, but he's inconsistent the best of the times. You got any quick comments for Ty Munro?
I think he probably won't start for the first part of the year. He's obviously lightning fast. He's got like bird shoulders or something. I think he's like injured his wing about 1,000 times in the last 2 years. So hopefully he can overcome whatever's going on for him personally and overcome his weak shoulders as well, and hopefully have a decent run at the season.
Yeah. Again, on his day, he could match it with anyone in regards to speed. And he's obviously had a couple of collarbone injuries, as you just mentioned, which is devastating to see. But the guys who are past the 2027, so there's only 4 guys who are lucky enough to get that contract pass in. Your captain, your lock, New South Wales / Australian representative, Cameron Murray, dearly missed coming back from that Achilles rupture. Had no reason to play in the last game or the last 2 games. I think it was just 1 game he played. But anyway, he just shows the leadership that he has. Again, being the captain, wanting to get out there for the boys, wanting to get that win, not wanting to be near the bottom of the table. What are your thoughts on Cameron Murray coming back, and how do you project him to play in 2026?
I think with a good preseason under his belt, he's probably going to be around that 80-minute player, get back to where he was at pre-Achilles. Obviously, I think his reputation speaks for itself. He's rock solid in defence. That quick play of the ball has been pretty crucial for us in previous seasons. So instrumental with a player like Mamazelis coming out from half behind him. I think you've got someone really fleet-footed like him playing hooker. We're going to get a lot of opportunity from that, the way he plays footy. So looking forward to it. Hopefully he doesn't sign for the Wallabies. And
that's true too. And I honestly, mate, I reckon if Cam Murray was healthy and he played for New South Wales, I don't think Queensland win. Personally, he's that much of a difference maker. So yeah, Rabbitohs are getting a darling back there. Lachlan Hubner is another guy signed from 2028. I thought he had a breakout year. Didn't know too much about him besides this year. And then, my God, he's earned his stripes. He was a absolute workhorse through the middle, tackle bot. He did his job. What quick thoughts on Hubner?
Yeah, I think Wayne dragged him down from the Finns. He just looks like he's absolutely out on his feet from minute 1, pretty much. I don't know how he can play as long as he does, just ripping in defensively the way that he did last year. So, yeah, I think he's a great player. I think he'll develop more in attack this season as well. And looking forward to another season of the Hubinator.
Rabbitohs. I love that. Tavita Totola, another guy signed to 2028. As you mentioned, Morgo, he had a bit of an up and down season coming back from that injury. When he is healthy and he is confident in his body, he is one of the probably top 20 front rowers in the league. Still has upside. Quick word on Totola.
Yeah, I think like if he can get back to his form from maybe 2022, 23, he's going to be very helpful for us. We need a big body in that front row, so having someone like him out there is going to hopefully dent that line a bit more for players like Cody and Latrell to play out the back of. That was something we missed a lot of last season. We were moving backwards a fair bit, struggling to break that advantage line. So having some bigger forwards, 100 metres, it's going to help us out.
Yeah, 100%. And then the guy who signed the longest, the only guy signed until 2029, it's your fullback. It's the guy who's making all-star playing Latrell Mitchell move positions. It is Jai Gray. There was definitely murmurs probably 1/3 of the way through the year that he was potentially moving to R360. Obviously, that all went to shit, and then he stayed and re-upped before that announcement was made. Yeah, what can you say about Jai Gray? He was leading the Dally M at some point throughout the year, so that's obviously huge. Meter eater, tackle bot, plays above his weight. Yeah, I thought he was very, very good and bit of a super coach darling as well. What are your thoughts on the underdog Jai Gray?
Yeah, I think like you say, punches well above his weight. I think I was probably splitting hairs with my favourite player for the Rabbitohs between Cody and him for last year. Well, obviously not Cody, played 2 games, but yeah, obviously runs a lot of meters, breaks a lot of tackles for a small bloke. And I think once he can develop his pass and his offload, like he obviously breaks a lot of tackles, but when he can get a ball away to an outside back or an edge, I think he's going to create a lot more opportunities for us. So hopefully that's something he's been working on in the off season. And yeah, obviously office player on his day, super quick. Aside from him and Munro, I think speed is something that this team really lacks. So yeah, we need him out there, and looking forward to another season of Giant fullback.
Yeah, 100%. And I think having Jai Gray bursting at the back, he's just the energizer bunny. He's got that work rate, which Latrell Mitchell is like a Hamiso, more of a Ferrari. It's kind of good to get that other guy in there where Latrell can just be his best in shorter bursts. I think that complements him really, really well. I think if Jai Gray can develop that passing game as well, and maybe a bit of a grubber to just round out his game a little bit more, the sky's the limit in my eyes. So yeah, it doesn't matter how big you are, just proves that. What is he, 5'5" Morg or something?
I think he's my height.
Yeah, like crazy.
Sad.
Well, mate, there's still a chance. We're 30, but there's still a chance. But guys, that's the contracts moving all the way forward to 2029 with Jai Gray. But looks like by 2027, guys, you potentially have a lot of cap space to either revamp your roster completely or get some marquee signings with your current core. So that's interesting to note. We've talked about some guys and gave their roses in detail, but I'd like to go over some unders and overperformers just quickly again, Morgo. I had some bright spots here with Jai Gray. We just talked about him, so I don't have to go over him too much, but he was fantastic. All the roses to him. We talked about already Arrow and Kulumatangi. Both of them were mainstays in the forwards. Pretty much the only 2 guys who didn't get injured in the forward pack, and both had to shift from the second row into the middle out of necessity. I thought they were great. Alex Johnson, so close to the try scoring record. And considering he had so many guys in and out of that team, and obviously he had some injuries here and there as well, I thought he was still very good, all things considering his age as well. And the other guy I want to give some roses to is Tallis Duncan. You glazed him before, and I couldn't glaze him enough as well. On his day, he could do it with the best of them, arguably one of the best of them. So, yeah, Tallis Duncan was fantastic. Have you got anyone to add or comment on top of what I just said, Morgs?
Yeah. I think you've hit the nail pretty well on the head. I think Jamie Humphrey, throughout that first part of the season, was pretty instrumental to our success. I think he ended up at halfback out of necessity as well, and kicking game was pretty handy. Obviously, good in defence, big body. Played pretty well. So hats off to him. And Duncan, like you say, I think he's going to be a fringe representative player in 2026. But sky's the limit to him as well. He kind of reminds me a bit of a Liam Martin, just like a bit of a madman.
Yeah, true. Like that.
Would run into a burning building for your team. So looking forward to him.
I love I love how he wears the headgear, then takes it off, or doesn't have the headgear on, then puts it on. I like that little psychological warfare that he does with the opposition. So we're about to go through the underperformers, but it could be underperformers or question marks because expectations are obviously high for the guys I'm about to mention. But injuries, the caveat of injuries is a big thing. But Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker couldn't stay in the park. Both had multiple soft tissue injuries. When they were healthy and they were playing, they were monumental to your team. And there's going to be a moment that we're going to talk about later for the good and bad for Latrell Mitchell. Again, Cody Walker on his day is arguably one of the best halves, has to do so much for the team in attack, but delivers in abundances when he is healthy. Definitely question marks moving forward for 2026. Can they stay healthy? The spine obviously had plenty of injuries. You're testing out Latrell at the back. You had Jack Wyden in there, Jamie Humphries, Peter Mamazalis. Yeah, you had just guys left, right, and centre. Again, that came down to injuries. So, and Lewis Dodd, another guy you could chuck in the spine for the 20 minutes, but he was a big talking point for the majority of the season due to the fact that he was on big bickies and, he just didn't fit into the culture. So, they were disappointing. Hopefully, Morgan, I think you agree with this, obviously, but Latrell and Cody, if they're there and they're healthy and they play, let's say, 20 out of the 24 games, you guys are probably top 8, correct?
Yeah, 100%. I think like with a player like Fifita and possibly Duncan, if he stays on that edge out there, it's going to take a lot of the work rate off them, particularly on that edge, and they'll be able to take a back step, maybe rest their hamstrings for a couple of minutes.
Agreed. Yeah, so that's under and over performers. Now I got some best moments, and Morgan, I knew you were coming on eventually, so I got 2 moments. And for the non-South Sydney fans, you're probably going to remember this one and like this one, but this one was in round 11. It was against the West Tigers, and Api Coruscant got the ball off the ruck, and it was one-on-one with Latrell Mitchell, and just did left, right, good night, and Latrell Mitchell literally got ankle broken like an NBA 2K. Love to see it. Coruscant went all the way through and scored that try. However, they did win the match, the Rabbitohs, but I thought that was a funny moment. But do you remember that game, Orgo?
Oh, yeah. How could you forget? I think, obviously I'm a huge Latrell fan, but I love that. I think seeing a good kind of footwork moment in NRL is like the pinnacle for me. So, hats off to Appy. Obviously a very crafty player and obviously didn't do many great things when he was at South, but good to see him performing at Tigers, and hopefully they have a good year this year as well.
Yeah. Oh, that Tigers. I just did that podcast with Chris, guys. So by the time you're listening to this one with Morgo, you'll see the one with Chris. We just did about an hour and a half talking West Tigers. So again, that's going to be in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, you know where it is. Go check that one out and all the other reviews that we have in Tackles and Tinnies. But Morgo, the actual best moment, I think you just mentioned it too earlier on the podcast, but it was round 10 against the Brisbane Broncos. It was Latrell Mitchell's 49-meter 2-point field goal. My God, what a kick. What a kick. It looked effortless, man. Like, what was your moment? Are you similar or are you something different?
I think between that one and the Broncos win over the Raiders, they were the 2 most incredible things from the season for me. Obviously kicking a 49-meter field goal is no mean feat. I think I've tried it at TRL a couple of times and I've probably managed maybe 4.9 meters. So
did agree, Wayne.
It was incredible. And then the little cheeky try at the end, I think after the siren.
That's
just
definitely
fantastic. And if you're a Super Coach fan and had him in your team, it was an extra special moment for you. So.
Yeah, the junk points at the end there with that little flop over try. Yeah, that was a bit of a debacle. I remember dissecting that on the Tackles and Tinnies with Gazzy early on in the season. But yeah, that's funny as. But man, I think that kick went 70 meters. It was just flying. It was still going. It went past the post and it was still going up in the air. Like, that's what I'm saying at 5'8", man. There's monumental upside with his kicking game. If you just get like, again, you could Cody Walker, for example, at halfback, and Latrell Mitchell does all the long kicking. It could work long term. It could work long term. But yeah, that's my favorite moment. And Morgan, I'm glad you are similar. But the Broncos, man, I might have to get you back on for that one. I think I'm going to have about 10 boys glazing the Broncos when we do that review. And we're going to do that one last on tackles and tinnies just before the season starts. But we got rookies and players to watch. We talked about these boys before. You talked about LeBlanc. We talked about Jonah Glover, Ashton Ward. Ty Munro, I think, probably has the most upside for this team. It's inevitable that one of the outside backs is going to go down. Ty Munro is arguably the next guy up. Attacking prowess, speed to burn for days. Definitely a guy and has a good career ahead of him. He can sort his life out. Is there anyone else or players to watch that we should be looking at, Morgan, for 2026?
I think we might have mentioned him earlier, Ashton Ward.
Yeah.
If he can get a good season under his belt and maybe get a few more minutes, hopefully not at the expense of Cody or any of our other star players, he's going to really shine. I think having a player like him working with Cody and Latrell is going to be a fantastic kind of combination for the team and good for his development as well.
Yeah.
We've touched on Tallis. I think he's already kind of at that borderline superstar level, but yeah, I think it's going to be exciting times. We haven't got a lot of good South juniors out there at the moment that we've re-signed. I think we've poached a bit from the Dragons and stuff. So it's going to be an exciting year nonetheless. I think I'll probably tune into a few more reserve grade games and suss it out.
Yeah. 100%. So that's our players to watch. Now, guys, for the ones who haven't heard of our podcast before, just tuning into these reviews / previews for every single team, what I've got here is the 2026 strength of schedule from Fox Sports. So what I've done, or what they've done, I should say, they've collated all the data in regards to home games, away games, when they're playing it. Is it during origin time? When are the bye situated? Like, is that near origin time? Is the bye at the start of the year, like round 1? Is it in round 27? What teams are they versing in the top 8 from 2025, the top 4 2025, and the bottom 4 25? Essentially, they collate all that data as well as the teams they verse twice and collate that into a numerical number. So 1 being the hardest and 17 being the easiest. So, for example, when I did the Manly Sea Eagles review, the Manly Sea Eagles had the 17th number, which was the easiest draw in the comp. Morgan, for you, my friend, the Fox Sports strength of schedule has designated you as the number 1 hardest strength of schedule. Before I get into the data, what's your thoughts on that?
I think looking at the teams we're versing, we've got Dolphins, garbage, Roosters, garbage, Bulldogs, garbage, Raiders, all right, Knights, garbage, Storm, all right, Eels, garbage, Sharks, garbage. So I think we're probably, I don't know where they got that data from. I think we'll be doing pretty well, to be honest. I think Roosters are going to have a side this year. Doggies did a bit last year. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how Eels go with Pezzett at half, and hopefully a few minutes in the legs for Moses as well. So it's going to be a tough draw. But again, I think it looks a lot harder because of how unders we were last season. So
Very
we'll
true.
see how we rock up in round 1 and see where we think that draw sits then.
Yeah. Well, from a non-biased point of view, so the teams they play twice as Dolphins, I actually got them top 6. I think they're going to be absolutely unreal. They've got depth in every single position. I think Dolphins are going to be absolute smoky chance for top 4, personally. I think they've got that type of upside. Roosters, Reece Robson, DCE, Tedesco's there. Walker's obviously had a full season back now post ACL. All their young forwards, they're going to be very, very good. Bulldogs, does Stephen Crichton play fullback? Guys, I just posted a YouTube / TikTok / shorts, the bloody drill. But I just posted a video regarding the Bulldogs and their best 19. Does Stephen Crichton play fullback? I think he does. Morgan, do you reckon Critter's going to play fullback for the Dogs this year?
I think when you look at that dog side, Connor Tracy is good and as, I guess, tradesman like he was out on the field throughout last season. I think he's probably the one player that's probably lacking a bit when you think about star power and impact. Obviously runs a lot of meters, defends okay, but if you've got someone like Critter out the back, I don't know. I don't know how you can leave him out of that position. Definitely a go for round one, see how he goes. He might move back to centre, but yeah, obviously has so much impact. He's quick, he's got good size, so and the work rate as well. I think I wish I had a fullback with the work. Well, I have Jai Gray, but
but he's got the size too. He's got the size.
That work rate.
Yeah. And mate, I posted 2 videos yesterday, and I've just got people absolutely rage baiting me in the comment section, just saying, Critter's the best center in the game. He's the best defender on the edge. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, in the last 5 weeks of the season before he got injured, he was shifting to fullback in the red zone. Connor Tracy was going to center. That's one clear indicator. He signed until the end of 2031. He's 25 years old. That's the position where they're lacking, as you just mentioned. Like, he has the X factor. Connor Tracy's solid. He's probably like a B rated player. Stephen Crichton is an A plus rated player, and he's your captain. So you're gonna have influence all around the field. Not saying Connor Tracy can't make tackles, but bloody Stephen Crichton 1-on-1. Good luck. Good luck. That's what I'm saying. Tell me if I'm wrong, tackles and Tinnies listeners, because I reckon Critter's going to be at fullback. I'm going to timestamp this, and when I'm right, I'm going to be laughing because he'd be straight in my super coach team at $600,000. Centre wing, dual position. If you know, you know. Raiders, top 4 still, Morgs? Surely.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see how they go without Liberty at 7. I think he obviously had a few pretty lackluster moments throughout the back end, but he's just a reliable half, good kicking game, good speed, and a good game manager as well, which I think complemented Ethan Strange super well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends who's in there next. I think Kobe Black, they're saying might be half.
Yeah. So Kobe Black has, I just saw today actually, NRL Physio posted something on his Instagram. He's actually got nerve damage. So he's not going to be there for the start of the season. Ricky Stewart also said in the media that Ethan Sanders will be taking the goal kicking. So it's a pretty clear indicator that Sanders will have first crack. Then obviously Kobe Black will be the 2 I see there. I'll quickly run through this. Newcastle Knights, they should be better. Obviously, they've got Kalen Ponga back healthy. Dylan Brown, huge recruit. Fletcher Sharp coming back from that devastating injury. Not so deep in the forward pack, and they've obviously lost Kai Pearce-Paul, but I still think they'll be okay. They won't be a walkover. Melbourne Storm, still clinical. Might be getting Zachy Lomax. Who knows what's happening there? They're going to court. Did you see that, Morgs?
Yeah, I hope they. I hope the NRL and the Eels win that one. I think it's a pretty flog move from him, but we'll see.
Oh, mate, surprisingly, the NRL might get involved if the Eels don't let him play. I think it's the other way around, which is funny enough. But I think it's a bit of a piss-poor effort that the Melbourne Storm only offered $200,000. And I didn't know this, but the $200,000 that the Melbourne Storm give to the Parramatta Eels isn't salary cap relief. It's only just like, here's $200,000 cash. You can use that to get a new sauna, or you can use this to get a new staff member. It's nothing to do with players. So I didn't know that, which was interesting. Anyway, Parramatta Eels, I can't pick them, bro. I don't know if you heard my podcast for their review/preview. I got them like 16th, 15th. I can't pick them. They could be bloody top 8. But if Mitchell Moses goes down, they got Pezzett there. But I just think there's so much depth throughout the league. Like South Sydney, a perfect example. They could be bottom 4 or they could be top 4. And I think Parramatta are in the exact same boat. They're crazy to pick. And then the Sharkies, obviously Craig Fitzgibbon done a fantastic job there in the past couple of years. Top 4 regularly, just missed out off for and against this year. Almost got to the prelim final. They did get to the prelim final, just lost to Melbourne Storm in the prelim. Again, pretty good. But games versus 2025 top 8 teams, they got 13 games, South Sydney. Games versus top 4 teams, 7. And games versus bottom 4 teams. Yeah. again, I think the league's going to be so good and transparent like it was this year. I don't think that really matters, to be honest. I think any team on their day is going to win. But there's some things to note. So they've obviously got your buy rounds. You got an early buy in round 4, which isn't too ideal. Then you got a buy in round 13 and 16. So you're gonna have a lot of games. So round 17 to 27, about 10 games there, are all going to be back to back to back to back with no break. It's also worthy to note you haven't got a home game until round 5, which is also going to make life hard. However, you do finish well. You're going to have a core from rounds 24, 25. You go to Seabus in round 26, and then back to a core versus the Roosters in round 27. So pretty hard there. Yeah, we'll see again. So is that,
I might
mate?
have to quickly chuck this on charge.
Yeah, I'll keep
I'll
rambling.
be back. I'll just get the charger going.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got off there. So I think the strength of schedule, again, that's going to be quite difficult. But we'll pause the podcast there, guys. I'll let Morgan come back and we'll go from there. All right, Tackle and Tinnies, we are back. Morgan's technical difficulties, stock standard there, mate. But yeah, interesting to note, obviously, their strength of schedule, I think every team's pretty cooked, not going to lie. I think that's the biggest variable for the Rabbitohs, Morgs, is their round 17 to round 27. No bite, no break. They could just be in the depths of it, and they're probably going to have to win, definitely against the Roosters, Bulldogs and Warriors, all those teams, maybe in the Eels, Sharks, Storm. My God, like you got a pretty horrid run. A lot of those teams will be fighting for top 8, so you might not be able to rest. That's really interesting to note. So again, Tackle and Team listeners, if you haven't listened to my other podcasts on the other teams reviews and previews, what I've been doing is getting the top 19 players. So for the people who do not know this, the NRL has pretty much stamped it. They don't care what the teams think in regards to management and or coaches. They're making a rule saying we're going to have 6 players on the bench and only 4 out of the 6 players will be able to play each game. So, for example, if jersey 14, 15, 16, 17, as per normal, play, jersey 18 and 19, who are the extended bench, will then be the emergency reserves if case there's HIAs or any misdemeanors from foul play. So the way teams now have to structure their benches will be slightly different. You won't just have to rely on a guy like Connor Watson or a Bud Sutherland. You'll be able to, well, especially Bud Sutherland, more related to the South Sydney Rabbitohs, but now you actually be able to get guys who can be on that extended bench as an outside back or as a designated half or as a designated hooker. So it's going to be more user-friendly for all viewers and it's going to be more competitive, particularly if a half goes down. So what I've got, Morgs, and we'll go through each position. I just want to give me a yes, no, if you think they are going to be in the team. And if you got someone different there, just come button straight away. Again, this is for round 1, and I'll also give you their best 19 because obviously Jamie Humphries will not be there in round 1. So at fullback, Morgs, I've got Jai Gray. Any rebuttal there?
No.
Yeah, lock and load, 100%. Okay, on the wings, currently their best squad. I got Alex Johnson on the left, Campbell Graham on the right. Any rebuttals there?
If I'm able to get Campbell Graham into centre, I am. But yeah, as we're going to get to it, I think you've got White in there at the moment. Whether he stays there or maybe goes to an edge or 5'8", yeah, remains to be seen. But yeah,
Yep.
Campbell Graham, I think maybe more of the centre.
Yep. Yeah. Again, it's the Gold Coast Titans trying to fit all these gun players into one position. You can't just do it. So yeah, Campbell Graham at the right wing. Accompanying him on the right-hand side, I got Jackie Whiten. Again, we could go to second row, could go to 5'8". Yeah, it could be anywhere. Jackie Whiten's just a gun footballer. And then Latrell Mitchell on the left. Any debates on the centres?
No, I think, yeah, other than the White and Graham thing, pretty bang on.
Yep. Currently, I've got Cody Walker at number 6. Could definitely play number 7 if need be. But are you happy with Cody Walker at 5'8" to start the year?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So I've also, at number 7, I've got Bud Sutherland to start the year because Jamie Humphries is not there. But in a perfect world, Jamie Humphries would be the halfback. Any rebuttal there?
I think maybe between Bud, it'd be cool to see Ashton Ward get a run there. Obviously, kicking game a little bit untested at this point. Maybe with a bit more of a quadricep on him, he'll be launching them a bit further. But yeah, it'd be cool to see him get a run. Sullivan, I think he obviously did a great job for us for the first half of the year as well. I think he got us the win in that Roosters game too. So happy to see him there. But yeah, it's pretty solid. Can't argue with that.
Yeah, agreed. Again, it's kind of good too because we've still got a month to go in the off season. My girlfriend's just been absolutely silly buggers right in front of me. But yeah, Ashton Ward definitely smoky chance to get there as well. Competition for spots is always fantastic. Front row, Morgs, I've got Jai Arrow and Keon. Any rebuttal there?
No, I think that's a bit of a lock there, or maybe Totola over Arrow off the bench, possibly.
Yeah. Don't mind that either. Both could be good. But yeah, got Arrow and Keon front row. At hooker, all reports say Brandon Smith. I'd love to see that redemption story. Obviously, we had that bit of the segment earlier on in the podcast. If you're just watching the short form video of this, guys, check out the full episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts to see the Brandon Smith segment there. But yeah, thoughts on hooker position? What, you're going to have Peter Mamazalis maybe, or?
I think you're splitting hairs between Brandon and Peter. I think Brandon may be off the bench, but like you say, I think taking the sting out of that forward pack to begin the game might do us some favours in the back end.
Yep. It could be much of a muchness, but yeah, I think Brandon Smith starts the game, and then Peter Mamazalis, as we talked about earlier, will just be that more of a impact guy, a bit more leg speed. Second row, I don't think there's any rebuttal here, mate. But Fifita on the left, Talis Duncan on the right.
No, I think that's the best 11, 12 and 13 in the comp.
Yeah, and then obviously Cameron Murray at lock. He's your captain. He's your mainstay. He's your hero. Yeah, he's just a gun. So, yeah, your forward pack all of a sudden out of nowhere with Arrow, Smith, Keon, Fifita, Duncan, Murray, that's pretty formidable. And it'd be interesting to see, Morgan, if we looked at all the forward packs and compared them all, where would the Rabbitohs rank? Going off name alone, top 5 maybe?
Yeah, top 5. I think maybe Bronx, Storm are up there. I don't know if you can pick many teams above them. Maybe Raiders,
maybe, yeah. Sharks,
No,
maybe.
they're a
Warriors, maybe.
pretty solid side.
Yeah. But yeah, unreal. Upside in particular with your back row and key on there. Now, the bench. This is a big debate. And again, I'm going to be a bit chopping and changing because we got the ideal 19 players and then I've got the round 1 players. So what I've got here, and I'm just going to change the numbers on the fly here, Morgs, but I got for round 1, due to suspension, I got Peter Mamazalis at jersey 14. If not, I would actually have Bud Sutherland if Jamie Humphries was there. So that just depends. That's like your utility sort of player. If Bud Sutherland is also starting, I would actually like an outside back on the bench, and that outside back could either be Isaiah Tass, Ty Munro, or Ed Cossey. I currently got Ed Cossey because I think he's a bit more versatile than just having a winger. I guess you could have Tass there. He's pretty good. Who would you have as your outside back utility, Morgs?
I think Munro might be in jail and Tass might have an ACL for the rest of the season.
What about Tass? Yeah.
I think we're going to be struggling in the outside backs for depth, but maybe Cossey, maybe Aitken. And again, I think it'll be interesting to see what they do with Whiten could potentially go into a bench position as well and do that utility kind of edge/center role as well. So,
what about Tass? Yeah, hit ACL. Good shout there. So we'll refund the bench, but I've got as my front rowers, I've got Totola, and I've got Ewan Aiken, and I've got Hubner. And I don't know who I'm going to pick for my last spot. Is there a guy off the top of your head, Morgs, who would fit that spot? You could get like a Liam LeBlanc in there. You could get like maybe a Bronson Garlic. Who are you thinking?
I'm thinking LeBlanc, to be honest.
Yeah.
And Garlic as well. I forgot about him. He could slot into that 14 pretty easily as well.
Yeah. I'm going to go this on the fly. Who do you think Garlic is a bit redundant with Bud there and Mamazelis?
I think it's going to be a tough one with him and Mamazelis. I think he's more of your classic kind of hooker player. He's a bit more solid than Mamazelis. Could probably do like a bit of a hybrid Brandon Mamazelis kind of job out there. He's got speed, a bit less size than Cheese, but big enough to not get steamrolled like Mamazelis might get in the middle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, splitting hairs with him. Mamazelis obviously so dynamic from hooker.
Yeah.
Kind of plays a pretty similar role to Cookie in that sense, but tough one. Bit redundant, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously Hubner's a lock, and I think the blessing is that you can start Brandon Smith, and then he could probably come on as that next middle forward. So I guess that's good. You can even potentially chuck Tallis Duncan off a feeder in the middle as well, if need be. They've both done it in the past before as well. So I'm just going to go off what I see round one, Morgs, and intervene here. So this is my 19 now. I've got Ed Koss as my utility back, Tavita Totola, LeBlanc, Habner, Mamazalis, Aiken. Would you have anyone instead? Maybe a Sean Kepi potentially?
Kepi can stay as far away from my team as possible. No, I think other than Garlic, Munro, if he's cleared by a judge,
Yeah.
might be able to slot into that team. Munro would be my winger if he was good to go and no legal struggles. So, and then that would leave me with a bit of a headache around the Campbell Graham, Jack Whiten thing. But for once in probably 3 years, we've got a bit of depth, which is good.
Yes, 100%. Well, guys, as you can tell, the going back and forth in Morgo, we are struggling. So we want to hear from you. The bench for you guys. I think your starting 13 is pretty lock and load, but especially with this top 19 with those 6 players and position specific guys now, you might be lacking in some certain areas. Who would you guys pick in your top 6? Let us know in the comments. Definitely interested to hear that one. Now, probably the biggest storylines, health, Morgs. Again, we talked about earlier on the podcast regarding the full clean out of the SNC medical staff. Surely it's got to be better. Latrell at centre, if that doesn't work, does he go to 5'8" to accommodate some other players if Cody Walker goes down or they decide to shift him to the bench? The Dave Fifita effect, is he going to finally get back to prime Fifita mode, or is he still washed? Going off all footage, definitely not washed. Is the Jamie Humphries, Cody Walker situation going to gel? Can Humphries get that contract extension? Is he going to come off the bench? Is he going to play middle? Another question there. And is the hardest draw in the comp going to be too much of a hurdle to overcome for the Rabbitohs to reach their full potential? Going off some of those storylines there, Morgs, what do you think is going to be the biggest one and most influential them for their success?
I think, going off last year, obviously staying on the park, if we can keep that team together and get some cohesion working with particularly that left edge. I think the years prior to that right edge really fired as well with Graham. So getting those combinations back is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I think we showed a lot last year that when we had all the players on the field and we were having the trail throw and cut out passes from halfway down the field, it's always getting us results. So looking forward to that. And then I think obviously for Fifita coming into that side as well, it's really sad to see Kualmatangi obviously leaving the season, but having Fifita come in, bit of cap space, I think it's going to be a really promising season, and hopefully he can live up to his potential, play some of that Broncos footy and get us the premiership.
Do you reckon Fifita's getting back into Origin this year?
Honestly, it's going to be so hard to tell. I don't think he ever was kind of Origin level when he was playing at the Titans, maybe a season or so. But yeah, if he can get some combinations happening with his halves, his ceiling's obviously so high. So
Yeah.
if he can play some good footy consistently, then yeah, I see no reason why he can't get back into that Origin spot.
I think, yeah, the ceiling's just through the roof. Arguably, he's the best attacking second row in the game. And I love how Broncos, even at the Titans, 10 metres out, penalty, quick tap, Dave Fifita, just barnstorm straight over the line. Like, if they're 5 to 10 metres out, every single time the Titans, like, Dave Fifita's tapping and going. Tapping and going. I don't think it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. So, Tackles and Tinnies viewers, I want you to tell us what is the most influential moment or situation that's going to happen for the Rabbitohs in 2026. Let us know in the comments. There's so much to discuss. So again, that's going to really help us gain some traction in the algorithm. One of the last things I want to talk about, Morgan, is our 2026 ladder prediction. Okay, so again, we could look at talent on the park. We could look at depth. We can look at strength of schedule. We can look at injury consistency. We can look at upside and all these things synthesized into one little idea to get our prediction. I've got mine, Morgs, and I think their prediction or where they're going to rank on the ladder is 6th to 8th. I think they're making the top 8 health pending. Where you got them?
1.
Cat. That's Cat.
I don't mind 6 to 8. I think, like you say, it's going to take them a little while, I think, at the start of the season to get their combinations gelling again. Yeah, if they can stay on the park, I think maybe 5 and under. I don't see them making top spot, but yeah, if they get into the finals, they can pretty much go anywhere. So
yeah, agreed.
Looking forward to it. I don't see them going bottom 4 again. I think they've got a bit of depth this season. Obviously, new strength and conditioning team. I think that side with 60% of the players running on the field every week is going to probably be top 10 and up. But yeah, hopefully these new trainers from Penrith can do some wonders and yeah, maybe run in front of some kickers or something and get us a few wins.
Go ask Jaden Campbell that one for sure. But as you mentioned, man, bottom 4 was their floor. Until they can prove they're healthy, man, it's like literally 2 years in a row they can't stay healthy. You'd think the new SNC staff would be beneficial to them. I want to see it. Dave Fifita hasn't been healthy either. Cody Walker, Latrell, proven soft tissue injuries, left, right, and center. Got some older guys in there. Yeah, Keon's had a lot of wear and tear from last year. Jai Arrow, same thing. It will definitely be interesting. But do you reckon they could get top 4? It's pretty stacked this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Roosters might be the team this year to beat with DCE and Robson in there. Crichton's last year at the Roosters as well, so he'll have everything to play for.
Yeah.
Broncos, probably the benchmark last year. I don't think they've really lost anyone from that premiership winning team. Raiders, I think, are going to be they could go either way. I don't see them getting that one spot again without Fogarty, but Saunders or Black have both been pretty promising. I think I've watched a couple of Origin under-20s games or whatever, and they've absolutely lit it up. So be interesting to see what that young team will do. I think they're going to be like a future kind of Penrith side.
Yep, definitely.
A bit of a dynasty with all their young players coming through. It's a bit scary, but yeah, and again, like I think...
Sharkies and Dogs, mate, too. Like the Stephen Crichton, he goes fullback there. Upside's going to be better. That's going to be a tricky one. Sharky's obviously there and about. So top 4, I think a lot of things have to go their way. And again, man, as I said at the start of the episode, they're all like 1 or 2 wins from almost last place, and they're 1 or 2 wins from like 12th. So much can happen. So this is what we always do on the podcast, Morgs. We get ChatGPT to ask. We ask it some questions regarding 2026 predictions, and we call it the cap or fact segment. So cap being that's not happening, fact being 100% that's definitely happening. The first one, Morgs, I'll get you to answer. Cap or fact, South's roster got better, but the draw keeps their bottom floor for away. Anyway, sorry. Cap or fact?
Definite cap. Yeah, I don't see them going bottom 4 with the injuries even this year. So, yeah.
Yeah, I say cap too, man. Too
Top
much
4
talent.
or nothing.
Let's say top 8. Let's not get carried away, champ. Yeah, I think definitely top 8 talent, 100%. Not too confident on the bottom 4, so definitely cap. Next one, Morgs. Cap or fact, Latrell at centre is the move that saves their season for 2026. Cap or fact?
I think if it lets them unlock Jai Gray a bit more and, like I say, he learns how to throw a pass or an offload, I think it's going to, definitely be a fact in that instance. I don't think he loses anything playing at centre. Obviously, like seeing him at fullback kind of popping up on that left and right edge, but left edge has proven time and time again to be the most deadly thing in the NRL. So keeping him there is going to be very positive.
I agree. And when they get to the red zone, regardless, he's going to be swooping around the ruck, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But yeah, I say fact too. I think it's just going to help save his legs. And he's had so many soft tissue injuries in the past couple of years. Need him on the park. And then on the park, I don't see Rabbitohs making top 8, unfortunately. He's that monumental to your team. Next one, cap or fact, Walker and Fifita is the best left edge combo in the comp if healthy. I'll even extend that to Latrell and AJ. Cap or fact?
I think fact. I already said it, so
yeah,
definite fact. I can't really think of any other left edges that have dominated as much as those 4. So
yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's fact 100%. I'm top of my head too. Maybe now the Roosters. That would be Tupou, Billy Smith, Gus Crichton, and DCE potentially up there. Yeah, I'd think they're by far and away the best left edge. So that's definitely a fact. And the last one, Morgs, cap or fact. If they're not top 8 by round 16s, it's curtains. Reason being, round 17 and round 27 is they have no bye. So cap or fact there.
I'd probably say fact. Yeah, again, the origin period will probably dent this team a little bit as well. And I don't think, even if we get a good run at the end of the season, I think, it's going to be too far gone by then. We've got a pretty tough draw at the end, like you said, as well. So
yeah. I think like not having rest with the origin boys, like you're going to have Cam Murray, Latrell Mitchell, definites, Keon, definite, that's 3, Dave Fifita, maybe 4, Jai Arrow, maybe 5. Yeah, that's 5 at the top of my head. So that's going to be pretty scary and rough for you guys. Yeah, I'm going to say fact. I think the league's just so stacked, man. I've been saying this every single podcast. I'm struggling where these predictions are going to be landing because I think, again, I've said it multiple times. 1 win from top 8, 1 win from top 4, 1 loss from bottom 4 / wooden spoon. So who knows? We need you guys to help us here. Is that cap or fact? Tell me in the comments below. But Morgo, that's Tackles and Tinnies, Rabbitohs 2025 review / 2026 preview. Aaron, 25 minutes of pure smack talk. A lot of propaganda from Morgan pumping up the Rabbitohs out of nowhere. Maybe have to pump the brakes a little bit. But it's really good to get your insight, man. Really appreciate it. I know the fans are diehards with you, and I know they wanted some of your biased points of view because mine were not going to be probably the same.
Nah, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you ever need any propaganda, you know who to call.
Yeah. That's it. And Laura's talking smack in the background. So, love you all, guys. Again, we're going through the draw 17 to 1. We had to skip the Tigers and the Rabbitohs, but we're back onto normal programming. The next one up will be the Canterbury Bulldogs because I'm leaving the Brisbane Broncos to very last. That's what it has to be. I'm going to get a bloody full panel on. Super Coach is open. It's completely open for everyone. Jake, Chris, Adam, they all want to do their team previews. maybe Morgan can show his full 17 players of Rabbitohs that he's selected in his super coach team. Have you done your team yet, bro?
Nah, and I've been so garbage the last few years that, I don't know. I'll have to put a bit more thought into it this time. It'll take me a little while to come up with something.
Or I'll give you one tip. Keanu Keeney, 500,000, lock him in your team. Dave Fifita, 485, lock him in your team. They're my two. I'm not telling anymore.
Easy.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Enjoy your viewing and listening. See you later.